Welcome to Things You Don't Know. Today, in this episode, we will pounce on cat facts. I'm your host, Dr. William Weaver, and thankfully, my co host, Dr. Sean Deneen, is back with repaired equipment. And today, we have a positively fascinating episode all about domestic cats. These mysterious little house panthers that rule so many of our homes. Indeed. Did you know the humble house cat is the most popular pet on the planet, with roughly a third of American households harboring a feline friend and over 600 million cats living with humans worldwide, according to Scientific American? That factoid really surprised me. We're captivated by them. But how well do we know our cats? In this episode, we'll explore cats from all angles, from where they come from, how they communicate, what and how they love to eat, and finally, we'll debunk some clinging cat myths. Yes, we're looking at you, aloof cat stereotype.
This isn't just an educational deep dive, it's also meant to be fun. So expect a mix of science and a sprinkle of kitty humor. We'll draw on scientific studies, expert insights, and a few quirky anecdotes to answer questions like where did domestic cats come from? Did they really domesticate themselves? How do cats talk to each other and to us? And just what are they trying to say when they knock things off the table? What's the deal with their eating habits? Why are they such picky carnivores and midnight snack enthusiasts? And what common beliefs about cats are just pure fiction?
So get cozy with your favorite feline if they deign to join you. And let's dive in. By the end, you'll learn something new about your cat and might also chuckle, at least purr in appreciation. Let's get started.
Our first stop is deep into the past. We're talking about 10,000 years ago. That's a long time before cats took over the internet. How did wild felines become the cuddly and sometimes sassy companions we know today? The story of cat domestication is unlike that of any other pets. While dogs, cows, and horses were domesticated to serve human needs, think herding, hunting, and carrying loads, cats, cats more or less domesticated themselves. Of course they did, friends. That's such a cat move, right? Scientists have traced all domestic cats, what's known in Latin as Felis cactus, back to a single wild ancestor, the Near Eastern or African wildcat, Felis sylvestris labica, a small sandy colored wild feline found in parts of the Middle East and Africa. Genetic and archaeological evidence tells us that around 9 to 10,000 years ago, something practical or something magical happened in the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East. As humans in the Neolithic period started farming and storing grain, they inadvertently created a paradise for rodents, and where mice gathered, wildcats followed.
Imagine an ancient farming village, granaries stuffed with grain, party central for mice. Wild cats slinked in for an easy meal of rodents, which was great for humans because fewer mice meant more grain for them. Over time, the boldest, friendliest, or at least not overly skittish, wildcats hung around human settlements, enjoying a steady food supply. Natural selection kicked in. The cats could tolerate people and all the perks of village life, like trash heaps full of scraps. They thrived and had kittens, and those kittens were a bit more comfortable around humans than true wildcats. In other words, cats invited themselves to the human party and slowly chose domestication on their terms. As one science writer put it, unlike other domesticated animals, cats most likely chose to live among humans because of opportunities they found for themselves. We didn't adopt cats, they adopted us, or at least our grain stores.
Interestingly, early cats weren't bred or molded by humans the way dogs and livestock were. They largely remained free agents. Archaeologists note that even today's domestic cats are incredibly similar to wild cats in both size and shape. For thousands of years, a house cat looked like a wild cat with a slightly friendlier attitude. Early evidence of human cat relationships includes a 9,500-year-old burial in Cyprus where a person was buried alongside a cat, a strong sign that cats held a special place even back then. Now, cats aren't native to islands like Cyprus, so humans must have brought that cat over by a boat. The ancient predecessor of the cat carrier was a seafaring ship.
By around 3,500 to 3,600 years ago, cats had thoroughly infiltrated human society in places like ancient Egypt. And boy, did the Egyptians go all in on cat love. They famously worshipped a cat goddess named Bastet, depicted as a woman with a cat's head. And they were so fond of cats that they were known to mummify their beloved felines and even had cat cemeteries. At one point, cats became so valued in Egypt that exporting them was illegal, a law that cats blatantly ignored by hitchhiking on trading ships, thus spreading to new lands. Classic cats following their own rules. In reality, Egyptian traders, unofficial cat smugglers, yeah, likely helped spread cats across the ancient world. Researchers analyzing ancient DNA found that after originating in the Middle East, a later wave of cat domestication and dispersal did occur via Egypt. Egyptian cats, known for the distinctive tabby coat patterns, rode along on ships to Europe and Asia. So if you got a cat at home in Europe, Asia, or the Americas, its ancestors probably sailed the high seas, earning their passage on board as onboard rodent control. Yeah, in that sense, cats were employed as maritime pest control specialists. I picture a smug tabby keeping Viking longships mercifully mouse free.
That's a nice picture. Over the millennia, these traveling cats established themselves on nearly every continent. Despite this long history together, it is worth noting that cats are only partially domesticated in a sense. They can be social and very gentle, but unlike dogs, most cats can survive just fine without us. Even today, many domestic cats revert to feral lifestyles if needed hunting and fending for themselves. This independent streak is a holdover from their wild ancestry. Remember, wild cats are solitary hunters, not pack animals. Cats never develop the kind of submissive obedience to a leader that dogs have. As the saying goes, dogs have owners, cats have staff. Cats don't see humans as their masters, perhaps more like equals or even convenient providers. They pretty much kept their independence even as they moved in with us.
Yeah. One researcher, Dr. John Bradshaw, notes that because cats weren't bred for specific tasks, they never lost their wild attitude of doing their own thing. We'll talk later about the myth of the aloof cat, but you can see where it started. Cats domesticated on their terms. They stuck around because it suited them, not because we trained them to fetch the newspaper. Good goodness. early humans likely didn't mind that these proto cats were a bit wild. They were low maintenance pest control. Humans were content to let them be as long as cats were catching mice and not causing trouble. And the cats, well, they were content to be let. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement, a win win friendship forged over mice.
So, to sum up the origin story, Felis cactus arose when opportunistic wildcats in the Fertile Crescent took advantage of human settlements approximately 10,000 years ago. It gradually became tamer and spread worldwide, helped by human travel, from ancient boats to eventually immigrants bringing pet cats into new lands. Unlike more domesticated animals, cats didn't go through intensive selective breeding until much more recently. A fun fact: the myriad of fancy cat breeds, Persian, Sphynx, Siamese, are mostly a modern development of the last 2 centuries. For most of history, a cat was just a cat, usually a short haired, tabby pattern creature. The gene for the classic botched tabby coat didn't become common until medieval times. The result is that your fluffy sofa lion is genetically about 99.9% wildcat. No wonder your cat sometimes seems only semi domesticated because she is.
But that wild heritage is also what makes cats so intriguing and resilient. They brought just enough wild to the table to be superb hunters. Sorry about those surprise bird and mouse gifts that they sometimes bring. Yet evolved just enough tameness to curl up purring in our laps. In the words of one 2019 study, when cats live in a state of dependency with a human, the majority of cats use humans as a source of comfort, that is, from organ state. So perhaps the real secret of cat domestication is this: they learned to see us as companions and maybe parental figures. And we, in turn, fell in love with these independent, adorable, sometimes frustrating furballs. It's a partnership thousands of years in the making, and it is still evolving today. Now that we know where our cats come from, prehistoric freeloaders turned beloved companions, it's time to figure out what's going on in those feline minds. How do cats communicate? If you've ever been perplexed by a cat's meow or tail twitch, this next segment is for you.
Ever wish you had a cat to English dictionary? Cats may not speak human words. If they did, they'd probably ask us for treats 24/7. But they constantly communicate both with each other and us through a rich language of vocalizations, body language, and even smells. Let's play cat interpreter and see what our feline friends are saying. First up, the sounds. Everyone knows the classic meow, but do you realize that adult cats almost only meow to humans, not to each other? In the wild, kittens meow to get their mother's attention, but grown cats usually communicate with fellow cats through scent and body signals, not voice. Our house cats, however, have learned that meowing is a brilliant way to get a human's attention. Basically, they notice that we big primates respond when they make baby like cries. As the noted anthropologist John Bradshaw said, feral cats don't meow nearly as much as pet cats, indicating that meowing evolved as a strategy for interacting with us. Your cat's meow is probably less oh, hello there, fellow cat, and more, hey, human, look at me. Some experts, like Dr. Nicholas Dogman, suggested cats are pretty crafty. They can actually learn what specific sounds get their owner to do what they want. If one kind of meow doesn't get the treat, Fluffy, and my Isis certainly does this, will try a slightly different pitch or length until you cave. Who is trading whom here? Hmm?
Studies have identified up to 21 different feline vocalizations, from meows and purrs to chirps, trills, growls, and hisses. Some cat enthusiasts claim cats have over 100 sounds, far more than dogs, though scientists typically categorize them into a few dozen distinct types. Cats can even string together sounds into what one vet calls kitty sentences. That's from petmd.com. For example, a sequence of short meows might mean something different than a single mew. Let's translate a few common cat noises. And before we go there, I would say that the cat's vocabulary, if you will, increases tremendously if the humans talk to them.
That's amazing. Well, a general meow is sort of an attention please sound. Cats meow for all sorts of reasons: to say hello, to ask for food, to demand that the closed door be open right now, or sometimes to complain. Did you ever hear that drawn out yowling meow when your cat is irritated because you're late with dinner? As with so many things, context and tone matter. A short, high pitched meow is often a greeting or a request, whereas a lower pitched, repetitive meow meow can mean annoyance or begging for something. Once again, that's also from petmd.com. Importantly, if your cat starts meowing way more than usual or uses a strange new tone, it could even signal discomfort or illness, basically, them saying, something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen carefully, you can determine what your cat is saying. I mean, we have a cat here. It's my sister's cat, really, but he has different meows. I mean, I absolutely know exactly what he's talking about when he asks for, I want to be groomed now. I want to be held now. I want to be get a treat now. I want to play. I mean, it's very, very different things. But let's turn to the purr, that gentle rumble that can soothe humans into bliss. We usually take purring as a sign of contentment, a happy cat napping on your lap, and it often is. But surprise, cats also purr when anxious or in pain. It seems purring is a self comforting mechanism, like a person humming to stay calm, and may even promote healing. The vibrations occur at frequencies that might stimulate bone and tissue repair. And we are going to look at that more in part two. So if you notice a cat purring while hunched up, ears back, obviously unwell, the purr is more, I'm trying to cope, more than, I'm so happy. Most of the time, though, if a kitty is relaxed, eyes half closed and purring, it's a feline thank you for the cozy vibes. There's also the adorable phenomena of the solicitation purr. Some clever cats embed a high pitched note into their purr, which humans subconsciously find hard to ignore. It sounds a little bit like a crying baby. Researchers found this tactic cats use, especially in the morning, to get us out of bed to feed them. Essentially, a purr meow combo that presses our nurturing buttons, from sciencealert.com. Sneaky, very sneaky. In part two, we'll take a look at the amazing documented, scientifically documented power of purring. It's amazing.
These sounds intrigued me. Have you ever seen your cat sitting in the window watching the birds and making a weird chattering sound that almost sounds like they're mimicking a bird. That rapid fire chatter is thought to be excitement and frustration, so close yet far from pouncing on that sparrow. A chirp or a trill is a short bird like burp sound. Often cats do this to greet people or other cats they're friendly with. It's like saying, "Oh, hi." My cat greets me with a trill when I come home, which always feels like she's asking how my day was.
We all know the hiss, a clear back off, complete with a little cobra like recoil. And, we don't mention this specifically, but scientifically, a cat's reflexes are faster than a snake by far and they're lightning quick. That's why cats are easily able to handle snakes. In fact, there is a have been some instances where they've actually had kind of fights like cockfights, but yeah, terrible thing. A hissing cat is scared or angry and issuing a warning. Add a guttural growl if they're extra serious. If you hear these, the cat is saying in no uncertain terms that it feels threatened. The whole defensive package might come with pinned back ears, bared teeth, and fur standing on end. Sort of the classic Halloween cat pose, like, the arched back, fluffed tail, meant to make the cat look bigger or more intimidating. Translation: I am very uncomfortable. Stay away or face my wrath, or at least my claws. Wise humans and animals heed this message.
Good advice. Beyond sounds, cats communicate volumes through their body language. A cat's tail, ears, eyes, and posture, as we said, are like semaphore signals conveying their mood. If you see your cat strutting toward you with its tail held high like a flagpole, maybe with the end slightly curled, that's a happy, friendly greeting. Cats often do this to both people and fellow cats they like. It's essentially feline for hi, I come in peace. Kittens approach their mom like this, and adult cats carry it on with us. Two friendly cats might even touch noses when one's tail is up. That's the cat version of a handshake.
Another little key: tail swishing or twitching. Context is a key here. A slow swish side to side could mean the cat is focused, like about to pounce on that feather toy. But a fast, erratic tail flicking usually signals irritation or excitement. If you're petting kitty and that tail starts thumping the floor, you might be getting close to a swat. As one guide puts it, a tail whipping back and forth can mean anger or intense curiosity. It's like the cat is too stimulated.
Puffy bottle brush tail. You know this one. Something spooks your cat, and foop, the tail fluffs up to twice its size. This, along with an arched back, is a fear reaction. The cat is trying to look bigger to scare off a perceived threat. It often comes with that sideways stance and a hiss. Imagine the cat shouting, "Don't mess with me, I'm huge and ferocious," even if it's an 8-pound kitty terrified of the cucumber on the floor.
Eyes and ears. Forward ears means a relaxed or alert cat. Ears swiveled backward, or even more so, flat against the head, mean fear, anxiety, or aggression. Basically, an unhappy cat. The pupils of their eyes also tell tales. Narrow slits in bright light are normal. But if you see sudden dilated saucer pupils, it could be excitement, like about to play or chase, or stress. Of course, the classic slow blink. If your cat looks at you and slowly closes and opens its eyes, congratulations, you've been kitty kissed. This slow blink is a sign of trust and affection. Cats do it to each other. Sometimes they'll lick humans they're comfortable with while they're doing that. In fact, researchers have confirmed that if you slow blink at a cat, they're more likely to slow blink back and even come over to you. One of the scientists behind this 2020 study, Dr. Karen McComb, said, "It's great to show that cats and humans can communicate in this way. So next time you want to say, I love you to your cat in their language, try a slow blink. You might get one in return, which is a kitty smile."
We can't talk about communication without mentioning scent. Cats live in a world of smells we humans can barely fathom. When you see a cat rub its face or body along your leg or the furniture, it's not just being affectionate, they're marking you with scent. Cats have the special scent glands on their cheeks, mouth, forehead, base of the tail, and even between the toes. By butting, what's called bunting, they leave behind pheromones that say mine in a very loving way. It's a greeting. Hi, you're part of my clan, and a way to mark territory. It will sometimes lick you to mark you as part of their clan. You are their family. When two friendly cats meet, they might rub against each other, exchanging scents, which is effectively saying we belong together. Conversely, cats also mark territory more aggressively by spraying their urine, mostly unneutered males do this, or scratching. Those scratches on a tree or a couch aren't just visual. Cats have glands in their paws, so a scratch is a signpost and a scented memo to other cats that says Kilroy or Kitty was here.
Interestingly, cats have a unique way to analyze scents, the Flamen response. Ever notice your cat sniff something, then make a weird open mouthed grimace? They're not disgusted. They're pulling scent molecules into the Jacobson's organ in the roof of their mouth. It's a special sensor that helps decode pheromones. It's a smell, a way to get more info, especially from urine or other cats' territorial marks. So when your cat smells another cat on your clothes and gives you that stinky face grimace, they're catching up on the neighborhood gossip, in a sense, via scent.
Communication is a two-way street. Cats have evolved to understand some of our cues too. They respond to our voices. Research in Japan showed cats can recognize their names. They can hear you, even if they choose to ignore you. That's in scientificamerican.com. Many cat owners can attest that their cat comes or at least looks up when they call their name. And science backs it up. Cats even seem to know their human's voice apart from a stranger's. However, they might not grasp that the name is their identifier the way we think of names. They likely just associate that sound with good stuff, food, and affection, or bad stuff being put in a carrier. Ooh. As Atsuko Sato, the lead researcher on that study, noted, cats probably learn to associate their names with rewards or punishments over time. Fluffy means treats and petting, whereas a random word does not. If someone new says fluffy, it's maybe 50-50 if they react. They haven't linked that voice to anything meaningful yet.
Cats can even follow some of our gestures. Many cats will follow a pointing finger to a toy or treat, showing that they can read our body language to an extent, though not as readily as dogs, who are basically born to read human gestures. And as social as cats can be, they still maintain that independent streak. One expert quipped, Cats are just as good as dogs at learning. They're just not as keen to show their owners what they've learned. In other words, your cat likely knows more than they're letting on. If you've ever taught a cat a trick, yeah, it's possible. And I always teach my cats this particular cat will come, will turn in a circle, will sit on command, all of those things. And yeah, he knows he's getting a treat, typically. But they can learn rules. They just often ask, "Okay, what's in it for me?" In part two of this mini series, we take a deeper look at how cats are able to use augmentative devices to use words to communicate with humans. You really should check it out, as the research is a bit mind boggling. To wrap up the cat communication segment, here's a quick pro tip from feline behavior research. If you want to bond with a cat, respect their terms of engagement. Studies show that cats are more likely to approach and interact if you let them initiate contact or give them a choice. That means sitting quietly, offering a hand, and letting the cat decide if they want scratches. Cats hate being forced into interaction, and I can't really blame them. It's not that they are aloof, it's just that they want choice. If you allow a cat to leave if they want, paradoxically, they're more likely to stay. So listen when your cat talks to you through meows, purrs, blinks, licking, or rubs. Answer them. Yes, lots of cats meow more if you have little conversations with them. I do it all the time. And that's true. And the business about allowing them free agency. If I try and hold Badu, that's the cat's name that's here now, on my lap, he will get up and leave. There is a little doubt about it. Now, he will allow me to cuddle him as long as I let go and let him decide whether he wants to stay and have more or not. So listen when your cat talks to you through meows, purrs, blinks, licking, or rubs. Answer them. Yeah. Yeah. Do have the conversations. And I know some people are guilty of meowing back at our cats, right? They may not understand your words, but they get the tone. A gentle, friendly tone and attentive response will tell your cat you're trying to understand. And when you do successfully communicate, say you blink and they blink back, or you call and they come, it feels like you're momentarily bridged the human feline language gap. Yeah, it's awesome indeed.
Absolutely. Now that we've learned to speak a bit of cat, let's move on to another critical aspect, perhaps the most critical aspect of kitty life: food. What do cats eat? How do they hunt? And why are they such picky eaters? It's time to explore a cat's dining habits, from catching critters to chowing down on kibble. If cats had a dating profile under favorite activities, they'd probably list sleeping and eating. Some might add plotting world domination, but that's unconfirmed so far. Cats love to eat, but they are also notorious for their very specific dietary needs and hunting hobbies. Let's dig in, shall we?
The first thing that we need to recognize is that cats are obligate carnivores. That's a fancy way of saying meat or bust. Unlike dogs who are omnivores and will happily scarf up your pizza, cats must eat meat to survive. Their bodies are finely tuned by evolution to thrive on animal protein and fat, and they have little use for carbohydrates. Cats naturally consume a diet of high protein, moderate fat, and very low carbs. The composition of a mouse or bird fits that bill. A wild cat's menu is like a charcutier board of rodents, birds, lizards, and maybe the occasional insect. Definitely not pasta or bread. Over millions of years, cats lost some of the metabolic pathways that other animals use to process plant matter. For example, cats can't synthesize certain nutrients independently and can only get them from animal tissues. A big one is taurine, an amino acid. If a cat doesn't get taurine in their food, and it's found in meat, it can lead to serious problems like blindness and heart failure. This is why you should never put Isis or Badu or Mittens or any other cat on a salad diet. A vegetarian cat is an unhealthy and extremely dissatisfied cat. As one veterinary source puts it, cats rely on nutrients found only in animal products and require over a dozen specific nutrients, vitamins, fatty acids, etc., that are abundant in prey animals. So, commercial cat foods are carefully formulated sometimes to meet those needs. Even dry kibble has supplements like taurine added because without it, cats would suffer.
Interestingly, cats have zero sweet tooth. They can't taste sweet things. The gene for sweet taste receptor got knocked out in their evolution. Maybe because nothing in their natural diet is sweet, so why waste energy on tasting sugar? So when your cat ignores sugary treats but goes crazy for something savory, that's why. They're all about umami. Ever had a cat steal a piece of chicken or some cheese? That's far more tempting to them than cake. Also, cats are adapted to getting most of their water from their food. Their prey is 70% water. That is why many cats on dry food don't drink much, and why vets recommend incorporating wet food or ensuring fresh water, since modern cats get extremely dehydrated on kibble alone.
Now cats might be meat eaters, but they aren't large predators. A cat's strategy in the wild is, quote, many small meals rather than one big kill. Depending on availability, a wild or feral cat might hunt and eat 8 to 12 small prey daily. They'll catch a mouse here, a bird there, maybe a bug snack in between. Research notes that cats generally naturally eat several small meals per day. If you ever free feed your cat, like let food out for them to have whenever they want it, you might notice they nibble periodically rather than wolf it all down at once. Well, some cats do wolf it down, but here's looking at you, chunky cats.
In contrast, humans often feed their pet cats in one or two large sittings. That's convenient for us, but not exactly how a cat's stomach expects things. This is one reason some behaviorists advocate for feeding with puzzle toys or splitting meals into smaller portions throughout the day. It's more aligned with their natural rhythm and can prevent boredom. A bored cat with a full bowl may eat just out of ennui, leading to obesity. Ah, yes, feline obesity. It's a typical modern problem. By some estimates, roughly 25 to 30% or even more of pet cats are overweight, making obesity the most common nutritional disease in domestic cats. An overweight cat might look cute and extra fluffy like Garfield, but it poses health risks from diabetes to arthritis. The culprits? Overfeeding, high calorie foods, lack of exercise, and those big sad eyes convince us to give just a few more treats, guilty as charged. Cats are masters of food solicitation behavior. They'll meow pathetically like they haven't eaten in ages or perform the classic 5 a.m. wake up call, pawing at your face or yowling at your door because their bowl is half empty. There's a cat in my neighborhood nicknamed the Breakfast Bandit. for her habit of waking the entire house at dawn, demanding her kibble. They train us well, and we oblige, sometimes overfeeding without realizing it.
What about hunting? That instinct that makes even a well fed house cat stalk shadows and pounce on toy mice. A cat's drive to hunt is separate from its hunger. Cats will hunt even if they're full. This is why outdoor cats still kill birds or rodents, but might not eat them. The instinct is just that strong. One study estimated that in the United States alone, free roaming cats, pets, and strays kill 1.3 to 4.0 billion birds and 6.3 to 22 billion mammals each year. Yes, billions with a B. Our cute fluff balls are one of Earth's most destructive predators to small wildlife. Of course, they don't see it that way. They're just doing what evolution wired them to do. If anything, a cat bringing a dead mouse to your doorstep is giving you a gift or perhaps trying to teach you to hunt. Like they're saying, see, human, this is how you do it. Now it's your turn. Thank them politely, as you may internally cringe.
If cats could speak, they might say, I massacred all these critters because I love you. It's a grisly token of affection, but totally logical in a cat's mind. And we often react with, oh no, not another present on a doormat. Many cat owners have stories of half a lizard or a recently liberated bird flapping around the house courtesy of their little hunter. Remember, they can't help it. They're just following their instinctual script. Indoor cats, lacking real prey, will hunt toys, laser dots, and unfortunately, sometimes even our ankles. Play is crucial to keeping them mentally satisfied. It stimulates the stalk, catch, kill sequence they crave. Some enthusiasts even create DIY hunting games, puzzles that make cats work for their kibble, tapping into that natural foraging behavior. This not only provides exercise, but also helps preventing scarfing their food too quickly.
Let's talk about diet quirks and human provided foods. Cats can be picky eaters, and that's partly biological. They develop strong preferences for certain textures and flavors, often based on what they learned as kittens. If a cat grew up eating only one type of food, they might refuse anything else, food fixation or neophobia, fear of new food. On the other hand, some cats are the opposite, little garbage disposals that will try to eat anything, even things that aren't food, like plastic or string, which can be dangerous. Generally, many cats will turn their noses up at stale kibble or an unfamiliar brand of food. They're particular about the temperature, too. They like food at mouse body temperatures, roughly. That's why some cats will sniff cold food from the fridge and not eat it. It's just not appetizing until it warms up.
One more notable thing is that cats lack the I'm full, it's time to stop eating signal that some animals have. In the wild, catching prey takes effort, and each prey is very small, so overeating wasn't a risk. A cat may eat more than needed simply because the biological off switch for their appetite isn't as strong in a home with an overflowing food bowl. A recent study even indicated some cats, like some humans, may eat out of boredom or comfort. They can experience emotional overeating, for example. A stressed or understimulated cat might munch more. So, controlling portions and keeping them engaged with play is key for a healthy cat.
And what about strange eating habits? Some cats love odd things like melon, olives, even plain bread. While meat is the main show, individual cats develop quirky tastes. I have a friend whose cat loves potato chips. He's attracted to the salt and crunch, I guess. Another friend swears her cat goes wild for marshmallows. We can't explain that one. Maybe the texture, who knows? As long as it's safe and occasional, these eccentric snacks are okay, but always check. Now, some human foods are toxic to cats. Never give onions, garlic, chocolate, or alcohol. Those can cause serious harm. And milk, despite the cliche of cats lapping up milk, adult cats are often lactose intolerant. A saucer of cow's milk can lead to a litter box nightmare.
In summary, cat feeding is about respecting their inner carnivore. Quality cat food, whether wet, dry, or a mix, that provides animal based protein and all essential nutrients is vital. Cats don't need variety for novelty's sake. Sudden diet changes can upset their stomach, but they need balanced nutrition. If you're caring for a cat, remember, water is important too. Felines have a low thirst drive, so encourage drinking. Fountains or multiple water bowls help. And if your cat ever catches something on their own, try not to scream, praise their prowess if you can stomach it, and gently dispose of the treasure. They are just doing what cats do.
In part two of this mini series, we will tackle some big misconceptions about cats. Are they really the cold, unfeeling divas some make them out to be? Do they hate humans, or are they secretly fond of us? And what's with the superstitions about black cats and 9 lives? It's time to debunk some cat myths. We'll also talk about religious connections and thoughts about our feline companions.
You really want to join us for this part. In some ways, part two is even more fascinating to me because we talk about things that are felt, sensed, or thought. We also look at the almost mystical yet scientifically proven healing power of cats and the ability of cats to communicate in words through using an augmentative device. Cats are animals that are very intriguing.
I hope you will join us for part two. But for now, we're going to say goodbye.
So long, folks.